Well, hello and welcome to a special edition of the DCL podcast. Christy Puttick joins me here in just a second, and we talk about changes that were announced yesterday on the 2nd of May 2017 to Disney Cruise Line's Castaway Club. So sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Okay, and welcome back to the DCL podcast. We thought, Christy and I thought we'd jump in and try and get this podcast out fairly quickly to you this week due to some changes that Disney recently announced to their Castaway Club benefits. And welcome to the show, Christy.
Hi.
Thanks for bringing this up. You found out about this yesterday, I believe, as far as when Disney released it.
Yep.
And if you don't know, for those of you who may not know what the Castaway Club is, that's basically Disney's kind of reward program for those who have sailed with Disney before. And it doesn't cost anything to join, and you actually don't even have to do anything to join it. You are automatically enrolled into it after your first cruise with Disney, and they have a couple benefits that they give out to members once you become a Castaway Club member and you come back for subsequent cruises. They've got 3 different levels, and I thought I'd just go over these quick before we went over the changes that are coming. But there's the silver one, which after your first cruise, everybody becomes a silver Castaway Club member, and that lasts for your first 5. Then after you've taken your 5th cruise, you become a gold member. So it's on your 6th cruise that you actually get the gold benefits. And it goes on to platinum, which is after 10 cruises, you become a platinum Castaway Club member. And once again, that's kind of like the gold, where it's actually the 11th cruise that you sail on where you would get the platinum benefits. So you are a gold Castaway Club member, right, Christy?
Yes. I believe it was my last cruise put me into the gold category.
Nice. And hopefully we're kind of striving to trail and follow on. We're just in the silver category right now. But let's go ahead and talk about the changes that they came up with. What was released yesterday, Christy?
So there were a couple of significant changes. Some things that are still the same is that everybody gets the welcome back gift. You know, this is something that is unique to Disney. Nobody else, no other cruise line really offers, well, I shouldn't say that. No other cruise line, though, really offers this nice of a take-home gift. I do know that Celebrity gives like these little bags sometimes that are actually kind of nice, but you can take them away. That was a few years ago. And then they also had this little tiny wallet. So they gave little gifts, but Disney has like a really large beach bag that goes in every cabin. And then the gold members also get the beach bag as well. At least this is the current gift. They're getting the beach bag and a couple of mugs, carry mugs, to take your coffee to work type beverage mugs.
That's nice.
And then I don't know what platinum gets. And then everybody after their first cruise also gets those lanyards that you get when you check in at the terminal, that you can put your room key in if people use that. So, you know, and they're not cheap lanyards. They're really nicely made. So I would say that those are things that Disney does that maybe sets them apart from everybody else. One other thing that's just different about their program than pretty much every other cruise line's frequent cruiser program is that they do it based on the number of cruises and not based on the number of nights. So you could have your platinum after 10 3-night cruises, as opposed to you would make it to that same point in 4 7-night cruises if they did it by the number of nights. I don't know why that is, and I've actually talked to several crew members, and they don't know why that is. So why they would choose to do it, you know, after the number of cruises versus the number of nights. So who knows if that'll be something that'll change in the future, because, you know, the rest of the industry went there. But as far as the changes go, one of the changes is that, well, one simple one, this is the easiest one to just say, there is a onboard reception that used to be, I believe, on cruises of 7 nights and longer, and maybe it was even 5 nights and longer, but they've changed it, and this is only for gold and platinum members. They changed it to only being, the reception's only available now on 8-night and longer cruises, so they've really limited it. Now, it says that they will experience special entertainment. I don't know what that means yet, because this change just came out, and it's only for cruises after May 1st, and so we don't have any reports as to what that means yet. But I mean, that's a big change. Most people now will not get an onboard reception.
Yeah, that's true.
Because most cruises are not over 8 nights long.
That's true. There's those kind of cruises are really limited as far as being past 7 as far as Disney goes.
That's definitely taking something away. Then the other change that even affects me and makes me sad is that, so what Disney has done in the past is that Gold and Castaway or Platinum Castaway members could call and book their cruise and get their prices the day before the pricing was available online and the day before it was available to everybody else. Like, let's say Disney's coming out with the new itinerary next week. And actually, sometime in the next few weeks, we should expect to see the rest of fall of 2018. So basically, usually how it works is they let us know, like on a Tuesday, that prices are coming out. And then in the past, it had been that Wednesday, Gold and Platinum members could call, or the travel agent could call and get pricing for what the new cruise is. And then on Thursday, everybody could book. General booking would open. So now they did it so that Platinum would call the first day. So let's make that Thursday or Wednesday for making my story stay consistent. Then Gold could book the next day on Thursday. Silver would book the next day on Friday. And everybody can book, Gold and Silver could book up to then. But everybody is still calling. And then the general public would book on Saturday.
And that's kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal for the Silver. So the way I look at it is that Silver and Platinum gain something and the Gold have something taken away. So Gold used to be able to book with Platinum. Now the Platinum only have to compete with themselves for the rooms that they want. But the Silver did gain something in this game that they can now book one day before the general public that have never cruised before.
And let's talk about why that's important as far as when the pricing comes out, because on Disney, the sooner you book generally, and we've got kind of an example here at the very end that kind of a special that's come out that Christy found out about, but generally, once the pricing comes out, from my understanding, as it kind of goes along and the ship starts to fill up, then the price increases. So the sooner that you have access to those prices, am I correct on that? That's what makes it such a big deal to be able to jump in and get your booking as soon as it does come out, maybe like a day ahead of the general public once you're in the Castaway Club.
Exactly. And the cabin selection. So, like, for example, I booked to go 2018 in April to, I think, westbound Panama Canal cruise. This cruise sold out in a matter of weeks. So it didn't sell out initially, but my mom gets a handicap accessible room, and those rooms sold out the first day. The first day.
Wow.
They sold out every handicap accessible cabin on the ship. And even from, like, I called at like 7 a.m. to get myself in the queue, and I think they took my call at like 8. And then I booked our rooms. I think I was trying to move her room between 8 a.m. and like 6 p.m. because I was like, oh, we should put her here instead. There was not a room left. Not one.
That's amazing, especially for handicap too.
Right. And so there's limited. And, that's the smaller ship, so there's going to be less. The same principle would apply if somebody wanted a concierge cabin. There's just not that many. So that is a disadvantage. The other disadvantage, just in terms of travel agent use or even people, is that now you have to call for 3 days to get prices. Whereas at least before, you just had to make it through the first day. And if you did have to call, you just had to call that one day. But now we have to call for 3 days in a row because they don't put the prices online. They don't even give the prices to travel agents, which is really horrible. It just makes everybody's job harder. So you actually have to call to even see if it's a price that you want to pay. So the Panama Canal cruises sell out really quick. Remember when Disney did the cruises to, it was like Great Britain, wherever. It was the new ports that started. Was it this summer or last summer?
Last summer they did.
And you do a lot over in Europe, so I know you're very familiar with those. But those cruises, because it was a new port and so exciting, I mean, they sold out right away.
Yeah.
Oh, and the prices went up within the first couple of days, because as they have a higher demand, they do demand pricing. So supply and demand pricing. So as they have more demand, they raise their rates.
Yes.
And sometimes they could come back down, but that means that, the rates are going up.
Good points on all of that. So it's made it better for the silvers, kind of a loss for the golds, and kind of really not much of a change for the platinum, I guess, as far as booking goes.
They do have less competition now.
Right. Well, I guess that's true. You're right. That's better for them.
Platinum gained an advantage as
well. Yeah. No, that's a good point there. So
those are the big changes.
Those are the two of the big changes. Anything else change as far as benefits go?
There was a note. I was just looking because there is one of the little asterisks next to the early access to activity planning, and now we know that you book your character greetings if they have a ticket. You book character dining if it's offered, port adventures and specialty dining and things like that based on your Castaway Club membership. And there was a little asterisk. I was trying to see if it would tell us any more information, but it didn't. It just said go to DisneyCruiseLine.com for more information.
So to that point, if you don't understand what Christy just said, and most people probably do, but to that point...
And I talk really fast, so I apologize.
No, I didn't mean it that way. To that point, not only can you book early as far as a Castaway Club member, once you reach certain tiers, you also... Not only can you book your cruise early, once you reach those certain tiers, the booking windows for onboard and shore excursions open up earlier for you based on your Castaway Club member. So if you're Platinum, it's 120 days prior to sailing. You can come online and book things from Palo to Remy to those character dining experiences and whatnot that you want to do on board. If you're Gold, it's 105 days prior. If you're Silver, it's 90 days. And then if you're a first-time cruiser, then it's, I believe, 70 days? 70 or 75?
Yeah, I think it's 75.
75 days. And one other thing just to throw out there, if it's not confusing enough, your Castaway Club member can be based on your cabin, meaning that, like in our family, we're all Silver because we've all taken the same cruises. But you could be in a situation where one member in the family has taken extra cruises and is a Gold member where everybody else is Silver. Then that cabin could book at the Gold level, I believe. Is that true, Christy?
It is. So it's at the highest level. So
and that's not in your group. That's in the cabin itself.
In the cabin. In that cabin.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would happen. And when people traveled as kids on Disney and then they grew up and they're with somebody else, that would be a scenario where they would have different status. My family is all the same on Disney as well because we've all taken, my immediate family, well, my kid, my husband and I, we've all taken the same number of cruises, but we're all different on Royal Caribbean, on Carnival, on Celebrity. We each have different status there. So, and they usually all the different frequent cruiser clubs will go to whoever is the highest status is how that cabin will be considered.
Okay. So anything else you see as far as the changes? Nope,
those are the big changes. And if you have any other questions or questions about Disney cruising at all or questions about Castaway Club, email them or social media them to us because I don't think we have an email out there. So go on social media and connect with us somehow and get your questions to us, and we will get them answered for you in a future show.
Right, and that's for the show at DCL Podcast on either Facebook, and that's my Twitter handle, I guess, at DCL Podcast, and Christy's got her own from, and I'll make sure I put these in the show notes. What's yours again, Christy?
Pack Your Pixie Dust. And
that's with a YR on Twitter, right?
On Twitter, yeah. Right. And in case anybody just wants to email the question, my email is Christy, CHRISTY, at packyourpixiedust.com. And so somebody can just do that if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'm still going back and forth on whether I want to set up an email for the show. I've heard good and bads about it, so I haven't done it so far because I really don't want to get bombarded with spam. Anyways, that's something I guess I need to figure out in the future. But going back to your earlier point as far as the gifts go, those are pretty nice. We used ours, both our shore excursions, the swim bag that they, kind of the beach bag that they handed out, and I mean it's good quality too. It lasts. I mean sometimes stuff that they hand out, not Disney, but sometimes stuff that you get for free tends to be kind of cheap, and it was really nice.
They are really, really nice. And then I think for Alaska they were doing in the past like little backpacks, and I think on some of the European cruises they had done that before as well. So they do try to also change that gift up based on the location, and I think they can't do that all the time, but they do try when they can. It is a very nice gift, so it is definitely something they don't have to do, so it is nice that they do it, and it's a decent, good-sized gift. When I go on Disney, I don't take a beach bag anymore, because they're providing it for us at this time at least.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. And my wife's looking forward to using it this summer too when we go to the pool and to our little beach
I know,
here
then you
too.
can show off and be like, oh, look at my beach bag.
Yeah, exactly. So, any other thoughts on cast? I saw some things on Twitter where people were, wanting maybe more from the Castaway Club, or maybe Disney could give out more. And I hate to say this, I'm gonna go with my my little airline background, and love or hate the airlines as much as you want, but I think it comes to managing expectations. And my guess, and I'm just kind of speaking out here, maybe I shouldn't throw this out there or not, is, I mean, when you've only got 4 ships that are generally at capacity, there's some little things I think that they could probably do if they wanted to. I don't know, I've seen some of the other ones where they offer maybe a free drink every day or something like that, but
right.
Without getting into too much speculation. As far as I saw somebody mentioning like free cruises, I think that's really hard to do as far as being able to manage expectations and getting people, a free cruise, and then what ship would they get, and what time period and whatnot. They just don't have the flexibility, I don't think, that like an airline does that has hundreds to maybe thousands of flights a day versus the limited number of cruises that they have. So not trying to defend it, just trying to see it from maybe their perspective a little bit.
It will be interesting to see how Disney shakes out in a couple years when the 2 new ships, so there's one, and then I think it's like another year after that the next ship is coming out.
Uh-huh.
So I am curious how that is all going to go.
Yeah.
Like what will happen to both pricing on Disney Cruise Line as well as, any benefits if they're going to have a problem, where they're going to put the ship. All that is fun to think about.
Yeah, totally. And just to go back to your pricing, I was thinking about it as you're talking about it. When they added the ports to Europe, geez, the first year that they sailed to Norway, it was hard to get a cabin, and those prices went skyrocketed. We went the second year, and they were reasonable, I'm going to say. And this year, I've noticed that the sailing dates that we had picked, roughly, it is pretty much the same, if not cheaper, to go up there. So demand, people, like you said, it's a new port. A lot of people want to do it. People that are frequent Disney cruisers want to do it, so they jump on it, pushes the prices up. But 2-3 years later, you start to see the prices come down or not be quite as high as they were that first year.
Right, everything shakes out. For sure, when the new ship comes out, the prices are going to be through the roof on that ship.
Oh, definitely.
And then, everything will probably level out to maybe the level they should be at after that first, season or 2.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like you said, how prices change, or if they change. I don't know. Who knows? It's just like Walt Disney World and even Disneyland, people still keep coming no matter what the price is. So we'll see what happens. And you had some news speaking of pricing, you had news of an offer, I guess, that just came out yesterday too?
Yeah, so it started yesterday, which was May 2nd. So I think the show will go up potentially on May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Or the 5th. But so sometime before the end of this week. But Platinum and Gold Castaway Club members can book in advance through May 15th a Disney Fantasy 7-night cruise at 20% off the prevailing Veranda room rates. So that means that on July 22nd, 2017, Disney's 7-night Western cruise has more Veranda cabins available than they intended. And so they're basically giving everybody, which is pretty awesome, 20% off. And those would be, it's category VGT. So V as in Victor, G as in George, T as in Tom. And those are non-cancelable fares, so you cannot cancel if you change your mind. And you would get nothing back. And then they pick your cabin for you. But a lot of those fares are really good. Like they have those plus military rates right now for those the Castaway Cay Double Dip cruises, at least for early June still. And there are some really good prices on that. So if that was something you were thinking of doing, I'd look at that. And if this is something that interests you, you can reach out to your travel agent or to me if you'd like, and we can help you get that booked.
So a little, maybe some softening in the prices, at least early part of the summer.
Right,
like.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on at this short notice. We wanted to try and get this out to everybody just to see the new changes that they've made for the Castaway Club and kind of give our thoughts on it. Anything else you can think of as far as what we've been talking about today?
That's it.
Well, I want to thank you once again for jumping on quick, Christy. And hopefully this information has been useful to you. And if you have any questions, once again, feel free to reach out to either one of us on social media, and we'll do the best that we can to get the answers to you just as quickly as we can, or find somebody that can answer those questions for you. So from the two of us, we'd like to say you thanks as always for listening, and I'll be out with our next episode, which is going to be Christy's comparison between her time on Disney and Carnival early next week. So once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks again, Christy.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back and joining us on the DCL podcast. I hope you enjoyed this quick episode where we talked about changes that were recently made to Disney's Castaway Club program. If you could do me a favor, Christy and I would love it if you could go to iTunes, and if you enjoy what you're hearing on this show, if you could give us a rating, we would really appreciate it. That's what helps us get the word out about our show and helps us continue to expand and grow it. And as always, if you want to get a hold of myself or Christy, our contacts will definitely be in the show notes. And you can always get a hold of us on Facebook at DCL Podcast. Once again, that's Facebook at DCL Podcast, and myself on Twitter with at DCL Podcast as well. So twitter.com/DCL Podcast. So once again, thanks for joining us. And if you are heading out sometime soon on a vacation, we want to wish you happy sails and fair winds as you continue on your next adventure.